The story opens with our protagonist, Lee Son-ho, being attacked in the prison courtyard. As the brawl unfolds, one of the prison guards attempts to intervene, but is halted by another guard who reminds him that it's not his place to interfere. The confused guard hesitates and steps back. Just as the fight seems to escalate, a mysterious man emerges from the crowd and commands everyone to stop. In an instant, silence blankets the prison courtyard as everyone freezes in their tracks. As the man approaches, his name is revealed to be Old Man. He sternly declares that it's enough, and all the participants acknowledge him. Son-ho, filled with rage, charges towards Old Man, but he is easily subdued by Old Man's bodyguard. Old Man questions the guards about Son-ho's punishment, and one of the guards promptly confirms that he will be punished. They proceed to lock Son-ho in a cell. As the guards walk away, the chubby guard questions the identity of Old Man. The other guard explains that Old Man is the ultimate authority in the prison, surpassing even the prison warden. This revelation leaves the chubby guard speechless. He asks who exactly Old Man is, and another prisoner warns him that Old Man possesses immense power and that going against his command would be unwise. Meanwhile, Old Man is seen reading a newspaper and he calls out to his bodyguard, Mule, instructing him to send the thing. In another scene, Son-ho is shown pushing a wheelbarrow towards the area where they burn waste. As he throws the carbon into the fire, he is suddenly kicked into the oven by a mysterious man. The man sets the oven on fire, leaving Son-ho to be burnt alive. In that moment, a flashback takes us back 12 years ago, where a 17-year-old Son-ho is cornered by Chang-sik and his gang. Chang-sik starts delivering multiple blows to Son-ho's face. Just as Chang-sik is about to land a punch, a voice calls out to him. They all turn their gaze to see a student approaching. It's Ji Sung-soo, the grandson of the influential Ki group and their class president. Sung-soo questions them about their actions towards a classmate, and Chang-sik and his gang quickly retreat from the scene. Sung-soo saved Son-ho. They became close friends ever since that day. After arriving home late, Son-ho's father questions him about where he has been. Son-ho responds sarcastically, asking when his father started to care. His father scolds him, but Son-ho walks upstairs to his room. Inside, Son-ho glances at a family photo frame. The next day, Son-ho is nervous as he checks his exam results. Sung-soo encourages him, assuring him that he will pass. Son-ho checks his result and discovers that he has passed. Sung-soo congratulates him and suggests they go out to celebrate. As they head downstairs to leave, Son-ho's father asks about the result, and Son-ho tells him he passed. This news makes his father happy, and he gives Son-ho money to celebrate with Sung-soo. While walking outside, Son-ho expresses his concern to Sung-soo about leaving his father when he moves into the college dormitory. Son-ho asks for advice, to which Sung-soo responds with surprise, stating that he thought Son-ho hated his father. Son-ho explains that he did when he was younger, blaming his father for his mother's death. However, he now realizes it wasn't his father's fault as his mother died from illness. Son-ho seeks advice from Sung-soo as they are close friends. Sung-soo pauses for a moment and tells Son-ho that he doesn't need to do anything but be himself. That day, Son-ho approaches his dad in the kitchen and asks if he wants to drink with him. Blushing, they start drinking, and Son-ho tells his dad that he will be moving into the dormitory next week. His dad reminds him to not skip meals and take care of himself. Son-ho tells his father that he will become successful and asks him to wait for that day. These words make his father happy, and he says that he only wishes for Son-ho to stay healthy and not get sick like his mother. This revelation makes Son-ho cry. The next day, Son-ho meets up with Sung-soo in a cafe and tells him how he settled things with his father and question what happened to Sung-soo's face, which appears injured. Sung-soo responds that he fell flat on the floor. Son-ho tells him to be more careful and hands over beef bones from his father to Sung-soo, saying that his father told him to take care of himself. Sung-soo's expression changes once more, and he abruptly says he has something to take care of. They bid each other farewell, and Son-ho wonders why Sung-soo is acting strange. Late at night, as Son-ho is walking, he receives a message from his father, advising him not to eat outside and that they will have beef for dinner. This brings a smile to Son-ho's face. As he passes an alleyway, he notices cats eating some food on the floor, which turns out to be the same food Son-ho gave Sung-soo in the cafeteria. Upon arriving home, he opens the door and hears someone saying that he's late. Son-ho's eyes widen with shock. Standing in front of him is Sung-soo and his lifeless father's body. Sung-soo turns towards Son-ho with an evil expression and asks him why he came late. Son-ho can't believe what is happening and shouts, asking Sung-soo what he is doing. At that moment, another figure appears behind Son-ho and hits him, causing him to fall to the ground. The person who hit him is revealed to be Chang-sik. Son-ho crawls towards Sung-soo, asking why he would do this to him. Sung-soo, with an evil expression, states that they were friends only if Son-ho understands what he means. Son-ho asks Sung-soo why he killed his father, and Sung-soo responds that his father crossed the line. Chang-sik then forces Son-ho to take a pill, and Sung-soo instructs someone to come and clean up the mess in Son-ho's home. Taking the pill, Son-ho loses consciousness. A while later, Son-ho regains consciousness and sees his hands covered in blood, holding the knife used to kill his father. The police barge into the house and pin pin Seonho down on the floor. Seonho tries to explain that he didn't kill his father, but they don't listen. He is taken to the police station, where a lawyer tells him that he was on drugs when he murdered his father and advises Seonho to plead guilty. However, Seonho refuses to do so. He is taken to court and sentenced to life imprisonment. As he's being taken inside the prison, he sits close to the bus window. When Seonho looks outside the window, he sees Seongsu and Changsik waving at him. This sight makes Seonho lose control, hitting the glass of the window and vowing to kill them. A prison guard quickly intervenes and puts him in a chokehold. Upon arriving at the prison, Seonho is offloaded from the bus, with Old Man watching him from the sidelines. Being confined to his prison cell, Seonho finds himself facing a menacing inmate known as a serial killer. The inmate taunts and accuses Seonho of killing his father, pushing him to his breaking point. Unable to bear the accusations any longer, Seonho retaliates with a powerful punch, catching the inmate off guard. Shouting with frustration and anguish, Seonho denies killing his father and charges at the serial killer inmate, who quickly counters the move, causing Seonho to cough in pain. The inmate gains the upper hand, delivering multiple punches to Seonho's face. Despite the efforts of other inmates to separate them, Seonho manages to break free and bites the serial killer on the arm, causing him to scream in pain. The motion catches the attention of a prison guard, who rushes into the cell and strikes Seonho on the head with his baton, rendering him unconscious. Seonho is then taken to the punishment room by junior officers. Later that night, a car arrives at the prison backyard, and the prison guard approaches the car to greet the person inside. The guard informs Kim Song-gun, boss of the Gyeomkan gang, that the chairman is waiting inside. In a meeting with an old man, Kim Song-gun seeks permission to take over the KI group following the chairman's death. The old man questions Kim Song-gun's actions and warns him not to disturb the balance. Kim Song-gun attempts to challenge the old man's decision, but quickly realizes the weight of the old man's authority and falls to the ground, asking for forgiveness. The old man advises Kim Song-gun to leave and not visit him again, as he will be watching. Kim Song-gun accepts and leaves with his driver, his hand still trembling with fear from the encounter. As Song-gun leaves, he vows that the old man will regret his decision one day. Meanwhile, the old man instructs his associate Mul to prepare slowly and calls for the young boy Seonho. Inside the punishment cell where Seonho is asleep, he had a nightmare about Song, making him to wake him up in distress. Mul opens the cell door, instructing Seonho to follow. They arrive at a huge room in the prison, surprising Seonho with its existence in such a place. The old man is there, and with a serious expression, Seonho asks who he is. Mul advises him to speak more formally to the old man, but the old man dismisses the formalities and proceeds to examine Seonho closely. He grabs Seonho's cheek and looks deeply into his eyes, stating that Seonho's eyes do not belong to a murderer. The old man proclaims that Seonho didn't kill his father, explaining that he can discern a person's true nature just by looking into their eyes. Seonho, filled with frustration, smashes his fist to the floor, expressing how he repeatedly claims his innocence, but no one believes him. Intrigued by the old man's offer to help him seek revenge, Seonho eagerly agrees to do one important thing for the old man in exchange for his assistance. Pledging to do anything necessary, Seonho becomes determined to carry out the old man's request. The old man challenges Seonho to take a life as the first step towards achieving his revenge. Following day, Seonho roams around, contemplating the weight of the old man's proposition. He knows that after seeking revenge, he will have to devote his life to the old man, but the thought of taking a person's life troubles him deeply. Lost in thought, Seonho becomes a target for the serial killer from his previous cell. The inmate orders his associates to bring Seonho to him. In the secluded corner, the serial killer mercilessly beats Seonho, continuously interrogating him about his plan to kill his father. As the beating continues, Seonho's mind is elsewhere, but he spots a sharp stick on the floor. In a desperate move to defend himself, he tackles the serial killer inmate toward the direction of the stick. Seonho quickly picks up the stick. Inmate, realizing the danger, pleads for his life, but Seonho's anger and determination overpower any sympathy. He thrusts the stick into the inmate's head, repeatedly stabbing him. The shock of Seonho's actions leaves the other inmates stunned, and they are about to call for the prison guards when Mul suddenly appears, warning them not to intervene. As the old man walks towards them, Seonho turns to face him, seeking approval for his brutal act. The old man cryptically tells him that he's just getting started, hinting at the long journey ahead. Shortly after, Mul begins training Seonho to be capable of carrying out the old man's work. Seonho is puzzled by Mul's sudden aggressive approach, but Mul explains that it's the most effective way to toughen him up. Mul charges at Seonho, pushing him to the limit, testing his resilience. Years pass, and Seonho's training progresses. He becomes more adept at defending himself, ultimately managing to block Mul's punch. Seonho launches a flurry of rapid punches and kicks, catching Mul off guard and forcing him into a defensive position. Seonho manages to land a satisfying punch on Mul, feeling a brief moment of triumph. However, his happiness is short-lived as Mul retaliates with a powerful punch, sending Seonho flying. Mul calls an end to the training for the day, and Seonho inquires about the duration of their training. Mul responds that it's up to the old man to decide and advises Seonho to keep their training a secret for now. Considering it has already been 5 years, Seonho walks through the prison yard. He is unexpectedly slapped by another inmate, leading to the fight described earlier in the chapter. The altercation results in Seonho being thrown into the punishment cell. In the present time, a bus arrives at the prison prison filled with new prisoners. Among them is a suspicious-looking inmate with a scar on his face. He is taken into the prison alongside others. During the night, inside the cell of the inmate with the scar, he pretends to be asleep. When the cell door is opened, he widens his eyes in anticipation. A guard hands him a knife and gives him specific instructions, cautioning him not to mess up whatever he has been tasked to do. The inmate then tells the guard not to worry and that he should get the coffin ready. Inside the old man's room, the old man is sleeping when the inmate approaches the old man's bed with a knife, intending to kill him. However, just as the inmate is about to strike, a figure appears behind him. In an impressive display of skill, Sano disarms the inmate and swiftly slices the inmate's neck, causing blood to gush out. The commotion wakes the old man, who commends Seonho for his actions and praises Muil for his training. Flashback. Muil had warned Seonho to stay with the old man because something would happen that night. Seonho inquired if someone wanted to kill the old man, but the old man dismissed the idea, stating that those who believe he's dead can do as they please, being delusional about their future. Seonho expressed concern for the old man's safety, but the old man reassured him, saying the time has come. The next scene, a prison guard is seen badly beaten and begging for his life before the old man. It turns out that he betrayed the old man and brought the inmate who tried to kill him. The old man asks the warden what he should do with the guard, and the warden suggests reporting him missing, leading to more desperate pleas from the guard. Muil approaches the guard, and the guard screams in agony. In the following scene, we see why Seonho was thrown into the incinerator. Inside the incinerator, there's a dead body with Seonho's prison number on it. Muil then lights up a lighter, declaring that this is Seonho's final test. Seonho manages to escape the incinerator using a crowbar and begins to crawl through a narrow hole. As he continues, he starts feeling dizzy, wondering if it's from inhaling too much smoke. Of Songgu flash through Seonho's mind, reminding him that he's endured pain worse than this. He spots a source of light at the end of the narrow hole and determinedly continues to crawl towards it. He reaches out to the surface, and a mysterious hand grabs his, pulling him out of the ground. Gasping for breath, Seonho asks if the person is one of the old man's people. The man introduces himself as Babira and hands Seonho a cell phone. The phone rings, and the voice on the other end announces that prison No. 1334, Lee Seonho is dead. In response, old man tells Seonho over the phone that he's no longer Lee Seonho, he's now Mujin. The old man with dreadful eyes tell Mujin to not forget reason why left. After the call ended, Babira provided Mujin with new clothes to change into and explained that they were on top of a mountain and needed to descend. As they walked down the mountain, Babira revealed that his job was to deliver the old man's message to Mujin. As they reached the foot of the mountain where a car was parked, a man was waiting for them. This man turned out to be Jang Deoksu, the chairman of Mumu Distribution, and he was there to support Mujin. Before they could get into the car, Deoksu insisted on testing Mujin's capabilities to see if he was worthy of working with him. Without warning, Deoksu charged at Mujin, catching him off guard, and delivered a powerful punch that sent Mujin flying backward. Realizing that Deoksu was incredibly strong, Mujin quickly recovered and prepared to defend himself. Deoksu unleashed a barrage of punches, but Mujin effortlessly dodged each one. Taking advantage of an opening, Mujin managed to get behind Deoksu and landed a powerful punch to Deoksu's face, causing him to crash to the ground. Deoksu, impressed by Mujin's strength, stood up and praised him as a strong kid. He explained that people who worked for the old man usually possessed monstrous power and strength. Deoksu expressed his anticipation in working with Mujin, while patting him on the back, indicating that Mujin had passed the test and gained Deoksu's respect and support. After all the commotion, they drove off from the mountain, and at night they arrived in front of a mansion. They took Mujin inside, where they were greeted by a nurse who affectionately called Babira Bobby. Babira asked the nurse where Dr. Park was, and the doctor appeared, saying he had been waiting for them before opening a drink. Babira jokingly asked if he couldn't wait before drinking, and the doctor replied that he hadn't started yet. Mujin asked who he was, and Babira introduced him as Dr. Park, the best plastic surgeon he had ever seen. Mujin commented that he looked like he was drunk, but the doctor placed his hand on Mujin's shoulder and assured him to trust his god hand. Their conversation was interrupted by a news report on the TV, announcing the death of Lee Seonho, the person who had killed his father 5 years ago. The doctor suggested that since Seonho was dead, Mujin needed to be reborn as a new person. Mujin agreed, and the doctor instructed the nurse to get the surgery room ready. As news of Seonho's death spreads, we see Seongsu, now grown up, being approached by someone who shows him the news. The news visibly affects Seongsu, and he walks away, telling the person to stop messing around. 6 months pass inside the doctor's mansion. Bobby waits at the entrance when a person approaches. This person turns out to be the new Mujin, who had undergone a successful surgery. Mujin tells Bobby to stop and lets them get to work. Inside a skyscraper, Kim Songdon, chairman of the Jeomkang gang, is eating but has an unhappy expression. His personal guard notices the change in his complexion over the last month and asks him what's wrong. In a flashback, it's revealed that some years back, Kim Songdon had sent the inmate to kill the old man, and it has been bothering him since then. His personal bodyguard receives a message saying that someone wants to see the chairman alone. As Kim Songdon listens, his personal assistant informs him that the guy wiped out everyone. Alarmed, Kim Songdon reaches for a concealed cutlery. Outside the office, Mujin is easily defeating the bodyguards. As he takes on more bodyguards, a huge guy appears behind him and holds him, while another guard charges towards Mujin with a knife. However, Mujin headbutts the huge guy and follows it with an elbow strike, causing the huge guy sky to fall onto the charging guard. As more guards approach Mujin, he swiftly defeats them all in an instant, leaving the rest of the bodyguards fearful and backing away. Door to the chairman's office is opened, and Mujin walks in. Kim Songdon's personal guard demands to know who he is, but Mujin remains silent. The guard instructs the two others to take care of Mujin, but Mujin easily defeats them, causing the personal bodyguard to panic. He calls out to the chairman for help, and the guard wonders what is happening. As the personal bodyguard reaches for his knife, Mujin gives him a cold glare and tells him to move aside. The guard steps back as Mujin walks towards the chairman. Kim Songdon asks if Mujin was sent by the old man, and he reflects on the past, regretting that he joined hands with Ki Taebum from Ki Group. Mujin inquires if he's involved with Ki Group, and Kim Songdon responds by saying he doesn't regret his actions. As Kim Songdon approaches Mujin, he calls out to his personal guard, Jinte, instructing him not to go against Mujin's will, no matter what happens. Just as Kim Songdon addresses Mujin, Mujin informs him that the old man says thank you for his service, and with those words, Mujin kills the chairman.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.